Yesterday, I was able to sit down with Daniel Jeremiah, NFL draft analyst, for the annual media meeting. I was able to kind of pick his mind with over 100 other different team representatives. We asked him about this draft. We asked him about some trades. And one thing that he said to me that stuck out was that one of these groups, one of these position groups, is the best that he's seen in the last 10 years. So let's talk about it.
You want Philly Philly?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. So today we are going to talk about this draft. We're going to talk about the annual media meeting I was able to attend with Daniel Jeremiah, a whole bunch of other, media members. It was a long meeting, but it was a lot of fun. I took a lot of notes, and he said some really good things about this draft that made me feel very comfortable about this draft and the Eagles' opportunities heading into it. Now, before we get into all that, be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family. We are on the road to 5K. We would love for you guys to join that ride. We've been growing like crazy over the past couple weeks, and I really do appreciate it. Shout out to All About the Sports, All About the Birds. I'm going to leave links in the description. I am representing them out there at the Draft Combine, so I'm very, very excited and very grateful that they gave me this opportunity. But definitely go check them out. So I want to start with the cornerbacks. Okay, we have been talking on end about this cornerback group. We have been talking on end about the Philadelphia Eagles' need for another cornerback. Now, Daniel Jeremiah went on record and said that there is 20 cornerbacks that he gives at least a third round grade or higher. Now, to him, to give you a little bit of clarification, when he says third, fourth round, to him, that means that they could be solid starters. Maybe not all stars, maybe not Pro Bowls, but he thinks they can be solid contributors day one. And that's what he said. So 20 guys he thinks that are going to be very, very good. Obviously, that's kind of headed by Devin Witherspoon, headed by Christian Gonzalez, who he really likes. And he has Devin Witherspoon as the number one guy. A comp that he made for Devin Witherspoon, which I thought was very interesting, was Asante Samuel. So, look, if the Eagles want to go ahead and get Asante Samuel, he is out there in the draft. I love it. I think that the cornerback room is really set up for success for this Eagles team right now. It's going to be very, very hard to miss. You look at the edge rushing position. That's a little bit different. The edge rushing group is not as deep, in my opinion. I feel like there's 5 guys that are, in a class of their own, and then you have a lot of guys that got stuff to work on, but they're very good. I like Mozzie Smith. He's probably going to be like a mid-round guy. He's an interior defensive lineman. Kalijah Cansey might continue to rise up, boards, and he's a guy that can kind of do a little bit of both, right? There's a lot of guys that, are good, but I wouldn't say necessarily great. But let's talk about the great, right? I know a lot of people are saying that, Jalen Carter, I'm not even going to bring Jalen Carter up because I think he is just in a class of his own. If he falls past 3 or 4, I will be very, very surprised, to be honest. But let's talk about the great. A lot of people are talking about Will Anderson, Myles Murphy. There's a lot of talk about them. Tyree Wilson seems to be the guy by a significant margin. Daniel Jeremiah said he talked to many teams, and by a significant margin, most people have Tyree Wilson as their number one edge guy. So that means that Anderson might fall. That means that Myles Murphy might fall. That means that one of these guys that you really like might end up at that 30th pick or at that 10th pick. So it's going to be very interesting to keep your eyes on that, because like I said, once you get out of those top 5, maybe 6 guys, depending on who you like, there is a significant drop off. And I think the Eagles need help right now on that defensive line. So it might start shaping up, to be that the Eagles go edge first and then they go cornerback because there's a little bit of a deeper room there. But I just wanted to bring that up. Also, I want to talk about running backs. So running backs, man, look, we are all, Bijan Robinson is a beast. I'm not going to sit here and take that away. He is a dog. He is a very, very good player. We would be lucky to have him. But Daniel Jeremiah said this is a very, very, very deep class. 13 running backs he has with at least a third round grade. 13 running backs. And let's rewind to what third round grade means. He's saying that 13 running backs could be solid starters in this league. Now, not all 13 are Bijan Robinson. He did also say that it goes from Bijan, a big gap, and then the rest of the guys, but he feels that they all can make a big significant impact. And I even said this on my Twitter. Definitely go follow me. I've been posting a lot of this information as I get it. He even said that he feels there's going to be guys taken in the third, fourth round that are going to be day one starters just because of the value of the position nowadays in the NFL. So that pans out very well for the Philadelphia Eagles. There's no rush. You don't have to go in there saying we have to get this guy in the first round. There's no need for that. We can get a guy whenever we need to get a guy. You know, maybe not wait till the 7th, but again, this goes into kind of trading, right? And before I get into what he said was the deepest class or the best class he's seen in 10 years, I want to talk about what the trade of value of the Eagles pick may be. I asked him about the 10th pick. Someone else asked him about the 30th pick, and he did say that that had tremendous value, maybe more trade value than the 10th pick. But when I asked him about, excuse me, about the 10th pick, I asked him if you traded back, what would you be looking for? He said most likely either cornerback, because he feels like most of the top edge rushers would be gone, or a Van Ness. Now, Van Ness is a guy I didn't bring up with the edge rushers. He has been just rising up boards rapidly, apparently. I've talked about him a little bit. He's very, very talented. He didn't start in Iowa. He wasn't, it's weird. It's really weird because he didn't start, but at the same time, you could tell he was the best player on that defensive line. So he's rising up boards, and I'm sure once I go to the combine, I might fall in love with the kid. We'll see what happens at the, the underwear Olympics, whatever you want to call it. But once we get to the scouting combine, it's going to be very interesting to see what Van Ness does. But he did put Van Ness as a possible if you trade back to maybe 13, 14, 15, 16, maybe Van Ness is still there and he's the best of the rest when it comes to the edge position. But he said cornerback would most likely be the most make the most sense, right? So I also asked him, what teams do you think would be open to trading up into that top 10 spot? And he brought up the Saints, which me and him had a nice little chuckle about, but he also brought up the Patriots, and he brought up the Vikings, and he also said the Vikings could be the surprise team. He said there's always a surprise team that wants to go up there and get into the party for a quarterback. The Vikings could be that team, maybe get somebody to go behind a Kirk Cousins and learn behind Kirk Cousins for a year, and they have somebody ready to go. He also said that if Anthony Richardson, who let me put this in full capsulation. Anthony Richardson, who a lot of people don't think is going to go, all that high. They don't think he's going to be that great. There's a lot of raw traits with him. He has the tools, but does he necessarily have the game all the way down yet? Not sure, not really sure how that's going to work, but Daniel Jeremiah said when he was calling around, Anthony Richardson is the number 2 quarterback on a lot of people's boards. So with that said, if the top 4 quarterbacks go off the board before number 10, the Eagles will be sitting in a very, very good spot to go ahead and get one of these top edge rushers or top players in general. Now, if they don't, if Anthony Richardson is still on that board, if Will Levis is still on that board, it opens the opportunity, right? It opens the opportunity for you to trade back. So this is what we have to be watching for as Eagles fans. We got to be watching these quarterbacks and seeing where they fall, because it's going to be very imperative for the Philadelphia Eagles to get one of these edge rushers, in my opinion. Now, the best of this class, all right? Daniel Jeremiah said that this group is the best he's seen in the last 10 years, okay? I wish it was the cornerbacks. I wish it was the running backs. I wish it was the edge, but it is the tight ends. He said that the tight end room is the best he's seen in the last 10 years. He has 11. He has 11 different tight ends with at least a 3rd round grade. And he said that's an insane number. And not just that, he thinks that all these guys are difference makers. He thinks that as soon as they get to the NFL, they are going to make a big difference. And I can't say I disagree with him, man. I cannot say I disagree with him. I want to give you guys a quick little 2 offensive linemen that I brought up before, and I wanted to kind of give you his take on them. I talked about John Michael Schmitz from Minnesota. He really likes that guy. Cody Mauch from North Dakota. I talked about him before. Gives you 5-position versatility. He can literally play anywhere on that offensive line. He likes him a lot, maybe as a first-round guy. I've talked to DeJuan Jones on here before. He likes him as possibly a second-round guy, maybe sneaking into that first round. And he also said, for all of the Bijan fans, I'm going to give you guys this. He said that the floor for Bijan Robinson was probably the Eagles at number 30. He does not think that even if the Eagles take him or if they trade out of that spot for someone else to take him, he does not think that he goes beyond that because of the CMC trade that the Niners made. He thinks that that showed value in that position when you have an all-star there, and Bijan is a top 5 player in this draft, according to DJ. So, yeah, I think that's all I got right now, man. That's all I got right now. He did say that Will Levis is like Dak Prescott, so, you know, I feel even better about saying Will Levis is going to be trash. But, yeah, that's what I got right now. You guys let me know if you guys got any questions. I have a whole crap ton of notes in front of me, so if I missed anything, if there's a player you want to talk about, I'm sure he talked about it and I just didn't bring it up. So just let me know, man. We can talk about anything you guys want. Leave it in the comments. But other than that, y'all know what it is, man. It is Fly Eagles Fly, and we are out here. Peace.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Yeah. Fly Eagles flying on the team. Touchdown, touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here cool on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randall. Season hit, early time to do him in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.